Hello students, let's read the problem. And it says, what is the range of the function f of x equals 2/5 x plus 6 when the domain is -5, -3, 1, and 5. So I'm looking for the range of the function, and I'm going to write down what range represents. Range represents the y values, right? So let's go ahead and highlight that. And they are giving us the domain, okay? And domain has to do with x values, okay? So make sure that you guys memorize whose domain and whose range, right? And the function that is given to us is f of x equals 2/5 x plus 6, okay? And the domain that they want me to use are given to us as a -5, -3, and so on. So what is it that I want to do? Well, basically, this is one of the easiest questions for you guys. All you got to do is evaluate the function given to you with the specific domain that are provided. For example, the first x value that I'm going to choose, it's -5. Therefore, when I work on my question, I will replace x with a -5. So the question here is basically, what's the value for y when x is -5? Okay, so let's work it out. So I'm gonna go ahead and you guys feel free to put them in the calculator, totally fine with that. So 2/5 times -5 plus 6 gives me a 4. Okay, so we're not gonna trying to go and explain fractions, right guys? Here we're trying to evaluate, and that's it, right? So the 4 is the y value. So if I was to place it as an order pair, I will get -5 and 4, but the one that I'm focusing on, it's +4 because that's my y value, okay? What we're gonna do next is, now I'm gonna evaluate that same function, same function. So let me write it down. But now I'm going to choose the second value that is given to us on the domain, which is -3. So I will write down -3. And right there with the x's, I will replace it with a -3. Okay? So I'm going to find f of -3 equals, and basically you are multiplying 2/5 times -3, and then you add in a 6. And yes, you can put all that on the calculator. We're totally fine with that, okay? And you might get a decimal. Is that right? Or a fraction. It depends on what you're doing on the calculator. I remember that if you guys don't put a decimal at the end, right, then it will give you a fraction as an answer. So if it gives you a fraction, it's going to give you something like this: 24/5, which is the same as 4.80, okay? Just remember that if you want to find the decimal and you're using an Inspire calculator, you need to write down a decimal here on the fraction just so that it can give you the decimal. So my order pair for this will be, when x is -3, the y value is 4.80. And we're going to highlight this also because that's the value that I'm looking for, okay? Let's go to the next question. So now I'm going to evaluate again, same function. That's what I said, this is one of the easiest questions to do, because now what I need to do is I'm going to replace x with a 1. I'm going to evaluate my function with x as a 1, okay? So if I input that on the calculator, I get 2/5 times 1 plus 6. You might get something like this: 32/5, which is the same as 6.40. So it's up to you if you want to change the decimals, if you want to leave the fractions, it's up to you. So here means that when x is 1, the y value is 6.40 or 32/5. It's up to you. Let's highlight my y value. Okay, I am going to highlight also the fraction. Okay, we'll highlight the fraction as well. And the last one, I'm still going to do f of x equals to 2/5 of x plus 6. And I will change, I am going to evaluate now x as a 5. Okay, so my x is replaced with a 5. Okay, and we're going to write down the function. And instead of x, I write a 5. So it says f of 5 is equals to, and that you guys will get a whole number, right? You get an 8 for that one. So this means that when x is 5, the y value is 8. And again, I'm going to highlight 8 because that's my range. Okay, so if we look at the answer choices, I'm looking for 4. And I do see almost all the answer choices with a 4. But then I'm looking for a 4.80 or a 24/5. And I only see one 24/5 in here. Is that right? Right here, I see the 4. I see the 24/5. And then I have a 32/5, which is right there. And finally, an 8. So my answer, it is letter B for that.